Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchtime Series, proudly powered by leadershipbydesign.co, where we add value to people's lives, and you can listen to us live every Wednesday and Thursday at lunchtime on ebizradio.com, where we talk about everything leadership, coaching, and marketing. And you can listen to the latest Lunchtime Series on all major podcast channels today. In today's marketing leadership segment, joining us per usual, Craig Page Lee, marketing and communications expert and co-host. How are you doing, Craig?
Kevin, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, cheeky little statement. This is the last show of Q1 2023. Can you believe it, eh? Just like it's just whizzed by.
I've just had my birthday, and I'm just kind of going. It's like I can't think that I'm 44 years old. I'm starting to look at the gray is gray is really matching the white shirt already.
That distinguished look.
Well, hopefully it's distinguished and not just haggard. There's a very fine line when you don't look after it and make it look pretty.
Yeah, I must admit, when I do, every now and then I sort of do a 5-6 day growth as well, and it's sprinkled with this salt and pepper coloring, which is a big reality check on the fact that we do age. Yeah,
exactly. Craig, so with that in mind, you can see that my head's all over the show today. I'm sorry. What are the key reminder takeaway points from last week's conversation?
Kevin, thanks. Yeah, to start off with, just as a reminder, we covered the topic of Pinterest last week, but more specifically, what role the platform plays in people's lives and how brands can actually leverage this platform to engage with the significant audience that uses Pinterest daily. The findings were documented in the incredibly insightful and easy to use report published on Pinterest Business titled Pinterest Predictions 2023. And I must admit that I learned quite a lot about the new emerging trends, and was really fascinated to see the thinking and methodology behind the process, and have the following points as the key reminder for our conversation. So firstly, it's about right audience, right place, right time, and you'll find your most passionate, loyal audiences on Pinterest as everyone is wanting to try new things, Kevin. Your audience is here. Audience statistics take note: 445 million people use Pinterest every single month to find ideas and inspire their next purchase. And what I really loved is this point is if Pinterest was a country, it would surpass the United States as the third largest in the world.
Oh, wow.
Significant, yeah. Women make up more than 60% of Pinterest's global audience. Male and Gen Z pinners are up 40% year on year. And Pinterest's targeting tools give you the flexibility to reach people by demographics, interest, keywords, and a whole host of other subsets described in the report. Firstly, it's really easy to set up and use Pinterest, Kevin, to promote your brand or your business. The advantage here is it's about show it, sell it, and see the results. Pinterest works for all kinds of businesses, from content creators to omni-channel retailers, and it's free to sign up. Get a business account. You'll get more out of Pinterest using a business account, and it allows you special pin formats, analytics, and more. Showcase your ideas, make pins to tell the world what you're about. Choose from formats such as photos, videos, and your ideal pins. It's enabling you to engage with your audience. Pinterest reveals your pins to the people that they think are most likely to relate to and love them. People can comment, react, or even add photos of pins they've tried, which support your particular proposition. It helps you scale your results with ads, turn your organic pins into ads so that they're seen by many more people. And the best way to succeed is to combine some organic and paid content, and that goes for social media in general. And the last point here is make your idea pins shoppable. Tag the products in your idea pins and make it easier for people to very easily and quickly browse your top picks. You can then search and tag any products that you want to recommend to your audience. And those are the key reminder points from last week's conversation, Kevin.
Fantastic, guys. So if you want to go and check it out or learn more about Pinterest, because Craig does us the wonderful favor of researching and finding some incredible information to share. Go check it out on the Lunchtime series on all your major podcast channels, or you can head over to YouTube and see our lovely faces in action. But Craig, what are we going to be chatting about today?
Kevin, I'm sort of sticking with the theme in the realm of digital and social for the at least this week and next week. So yeah, looking at key trends across the advertising and comms industry and reviewing a few more current and highly relevant reports. The report today is titled Digital Advertising Trends in 2023. It was published by Smartly.io and WBR Insights, but just to quickly set some context here, Smartly.io automates every step of the digital advertising process, empowering teams to deliver beautifully effective brand experiences across all social platforms. Really great proposition. And WBR Insights is the custom research division of Worldwide Business Research, which apparently is the world leader in industry-driven thought leadership conferences. Some really great content again, and what I'm really appreciating about many of these reports I've come across is it's easy to digest, easy to read and understand, and just pulls out some really great highlight points here. So the report opens with the following statement. Digital advertising continues to be a key driver of new business, customer loyalty, and revenue, particularly for B2C businesses. Consumer buying behavior has shifted significantly towards digital purchasing in recent years, as we well know. And that shift has shown no sign of slowing down. As a result, companies that can generate masterful, creative, targeted ads and personalized offers are in the best position to capture market share and build customer loyalty. And the report looks at what some of the challenges that these B2C companies are faced with in their digital advertising processes, Kevin, and what the actual digital marketing channel companies are targeting in 2023. And there's some really interesting stats coming through here.
So it sounds like we're going to be learning some great insights around the world of digital advertising, right?
Yeah, definitely some good takeaways on some of the insights here today. So again, just want to start by setting some context around the respondents that were targeted in the research process, Kevin. The respondents occupy roles predominantly in the fields of digital marketing, digital advertising, performance marketing, and e-commerce. And they represent B2C companies in e-commerce, including consumer price goods companies, retail companies, gaming, and travel categories. The companies generate roughly between 1 billion to 10 billion or slightly more in annual revenue per segment. 41% of the respondents spend between 5 and 10 million on digital advertising each year. That's dollars. 27% of the respondents spend between 10 million and 220 million US dollars. And as much as 22% spend more than 20 million US dollars each year on digital advertising. And that's a significant number. 37% spend 26 to 49% of their overall marketing budgets on social media, while 9% spend roughly 50% of their actual budgets on social media advertising. Kevin, again, substantial percentages. 48% say they received their best return on advertising spend from YouTube, while 35% say they received their best return on advertising spend from Instagram. So, watch those two platforms. 32% say their digital advertising creation involves extensive manual processes that are often time consuming, with 26% noting that their digital advertising campaign delivery involves processes that are very time consuming. So both from advertising creation to advertising campaign delivery, still a lot of manual processes in place. On the upside though, Kevin, 77% feel their digital advertising creative teams are collaborating much more effectively in all stages across the marketing process. Again, something good for the industry. In closing, 5 little snippets here. We note that the 5 biggest pain points for digital advertising in 2023 is the following, Kevin. 50% of respondents cite macroeconomic factors as one of the biggest pain points. 49% of respondents cite increased competition as a pain point. 48% of respondents cite maximizing efficiency and ROI as a pain point. 48% of the respondents cite producing enough creative content as a pain point, and 47% of the respondents cite ad measurement and attribution as a pain point for digital advertising in 2023.
Craig, but I'm just, what's interesting to me is that they, if you look at some of the numbers of up to 50% of their budgets are being spent on social media. So people are really amping up the ante when it comes to social media spend. Is there, like, do you think there's a specific reason because of the likes of TikTok, because of the likes of, the way that we are consuming content, that people are amping up the advertising, or is it just the obvious go-to,
Kevin, it's a good question, and it's a combination of all the points you raise right now. Actually, I think that first and foremost it is the platform to reach people instantaneously. There is so much time spent on social media across whichever platform and or channel. And it's the instantaneousness of that really is one of the desirable factors. But again, it's the ability to deliver engaging, rich, immersive content across those platforms, which really aids brands as well. So instantaneousness, the ability to serve in real time, but also the ability to deliver great immersive experiences, which then take you into another environment where you can start doing that instantaneous, immediate shopping at the click of a button and things like that. But it also, because these platforms are conversational, it allows brands to really start engaging in dialogue with consumers, and that's or prospective consumers, and that's really what you want. It's way past that singular broadcast process to that of establishing relationships and getting into dialogue and getting to understand the need states of consumers and being able to work with them to formulate product service solutions to meet their needs.
So, Craig, what are some of the learnings that you can share with us today around the digital advertising? Because
Kevin, there's sort of four key themes that emerged out of this particular report, and these are the themes that the report believes are going to drive digital advertising in 2023. The four themes are noted as follows. Firstly, YouTube and Instagram are definitely emerging as the most popular advertising platforms. Digital advertising is becoming much more streamlined and automated. B2C companies will use technology to overcome advertising challenges in 2023, and 2023 is described as the year for technology enablement. So let's take a look at each of these themes in a bit more detail. So firstly, the YouTube and Instagram emerging as the most popular advertising platform. The report states that it does state the obvious, as many of the reports do, particularly when you're spending so much time in the space. But it states that consumer-facing companies like consumer price goods brands, retailers, and gaming companies are spending a large portion of their budgets in digital advertising, specifically social media ads. And the platforms of choice do, however, change each year depending on consumer spending habits, on their usage trends, and very much more on some of the generational changes that we experience as well. As noted, Instagram, 94% usage, Facebook, 92% usage are the current top preference platforms for advertisers. What's interesting to note here is that few respondents are actually spending on LinkedIn ad, Kevin, with only 25% of respondents.
That's because LinkedIn's too important, that they're too expensive, Craig. LinkedIn is just expensive, period.
I think, again, LinkedIn is very much around a B2B proposition, whereas this is in the B2C space, and LinkedIn is not around instantaneousness. Yeah. So one would expect that. Again, it is stating some of the obvious. But from a brand exposure point of view, yes, they would possibly be advertising in those worlds. But the reality of LinkedIn it's very much around, it's a content heavy platform and content heavy from long form as opposed to the short snippet immersive social conversation platforms.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And interestingly, again, fewer are using Pinterest ads, 23% only, with about half of the respondents actually buying ads on Twitter. So seeing that, 50% are still finding interest on Twitter is important here. An important note in addition to that, Kevin, is that there's a 25% increase in the number of respondents buying ads in TikTok, your favorite platform. Brands obviously realize the popularity of the platform with younger consumers, but again, I cite caution here because we need to wait and see what happens post the current court case in the USA with the possible banning of the platform in the USA.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to ask is, knowing that TikTok could potentially be impacted to the. Yeah, I mean, I think they mentioned stats like 150 million users are on TikTok just in the USA.
Yeah.
And if it gets banned, my concern with that is just a side note to this conversation is, if you look at the list of advertising spaces that we're using on, as social media platforms, it's alarming to think that, we don't have much option. It's we don't really it's not like the market is saturated with amazing platforms to offer a variety of places to go. Like, this is it. It's between Instagram and Facebook, and that goes to one owner. Google is one owner. So we have maybe a handful of maybe 10 places that we can actually advertise our or do any kind of advertising, which is a little bit scary because we're not spending money on any other options. But the question is, there aren't many options to turn to.
Yeah, Kevin, again, it really does open another quite a deep conversation here, because at the end of the day, we know that there's been a lot of investigation, competition tribunals, anti-competitive behavior by the Metas of the world and Googles of the world and things like that. So yes, it talks directly to that point where, they've been buying up and creating entities under a single banner, which sort of holds us all to ransom under their respective holding groups. That said, the proliferation of channels would bring another layer of complexity to the industry by needing to access different buying platforms, needing to have different management and reporting structures in place, and getting to understand then how do you actually take your budget and break it down into smaller fragments and increments to actually find efficacy and value in those multiple platforms that may well exist. So it really, at that particular point would need to be very much around the equalizer effect, where you are adjusting your equalizer to try and find the optimum in any one point in time relative to a product or service to a particular market at a particular day part as well. So it does bring a lot of other complexities to the process when you do have a much bigger spectrum to be buying through. And remember, a lot of the demand side platforms and digital buying bidding platforms came about on the basis of trying to aggregate to centralized points. That in itself spawned another whole negativity around the bot buying and wastage of budgets as well. So yeah, it's I don't have the absolute answer in that regard. I just do know that there is a caution to be had from both points of view.
But also, just as a side note to the control that the US government sort of is enforcing, really, the fact that with TikTok, it's one of the spaces or platforms that you can actually hear from people, like directly from the horse's mouth kind of version, option. And it's not skewed and it's not controlled to that degree. So it really makes it a scary conversation to think that even, the options that we do have for advertising, when the government steps in and goes, oh, no, we need to control this to some kind of degree, what does that even mean for your business?
So again, Kevin, a really great point there, because The case under investigation at the moment now is less, yes, while moderation and control of content and what's been said, and pornography and vulnerability of exposure to young kids and things like that is a real problem across every single platform and channel in the world. The reality that's under review at the moment is the actual control and use of data behind these platforms, and that is something that irrespective of which country and which platform, same challenges are under investigation in China and things like that. So really, it's a case of, is there paranoia behind this? Maybe it is. Is it a battlefield for a different kind of cyber war between the East and the West? The reality is, what actually happens to the information and data belonging to you that's actually now in cyberspace, and how's it going to be used and manipulated?
I think we should definitely have a conversation about this, or as a whole show, because I think the second part to that is we actively know that Mark Zuckerberg has just said he's going to use data. He's going to use people's data, and he's going to use it targeted. He made everyone agree on WhatsApp that he's allowed to keep your data. So like we know that it's going to happen. Why suddenly the US government has a problem with TikTok is based on the fact that it's a Chinese,
or a national Chinese owned,
Chinese owned. So like that's what's interesting to me. I don't know. They're scared that they might, some kind of truth might come out of it, I think.
So I definitely would like to wait about 3 or 4 weeks to see how this thing plays out, and then on the basis of that verdict, it would be good to use that verdict's foundation of definition to then go and investigate the same principles of thinking behind the American-based giants like Google and Facebook at Meta, and get to understand the same approach and applicability, and then we can have a show on that basis. Very
Absolutely.
much so.
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
But I mean, carry on with your, please tell us more about.
Yeah, Kevin, so I think a really interesting point here is that there's been a big shift in return on advertising spend across the platforms compared to last year, when 46% of respondents noted they received the best return on ad spend from Instagram, whereas when you're looking at the 2023 predictions, 48, as high as 48% of respondents now note they received the best return of ad spend on not Instagram, but actually YouTube. Only 35% say that they received the best return on Instagram. So a big drop from 46 to 35%, which, something worth noting. But again, you're seeing the power of YouTube really coming to the fore. The social advertising platforms providing the best return on ad spend are listed in the following order, Kevin. So firstly is YouTube at 48%. Second is Instagram at 35%. Third is Facebook at a paltry 11%. TikTok at 3%, Snapchat at 2%, and Twitter at 1%. So closing on this particular theme one, Kevin, we note that 79% of the respondents plan to increase their advertising spend on YouTube, much of this because YouTube has actually emerged as the digital advertising channel with the most potential amongst these business to consumer companies, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm so glad that you're sharing this, because I wasn't aware that YouTube was leading. And I mean, they've also changed a bit of their algorithms with their shorts and stuff that they've brought into existence to be a bit of a competitive edge to TikTok and Instagram. But I think it's good to know that we're on that platform, and we need to utilize it more.
And what I've been doing with a lot of the clients we've been working on and the content teams that I'm exposed to is ensuring that every single one of our clients who are in a content-based environment, whether it's a B2B or B2C organization, is that they register their own YouTube channel. And there's been really great take-up across the board in that regard.
Yeah, it's just from a pure Googling perspective. When you Google and your brand is synonymous with a site, and you have certain amounts of content and it's a very quick, easy, findable way to get to connect with people. So
Yes.
having a YouTube site it's almost like where 10 years ago, if you had a website, you were known and you were considered credible. Today it's the case of going, well, what content do you create? And do you create content? Because that's how people are starting to measure, how they connect or who they connect with.
Yes, absolutely. Kevin, jumping into theme 2, which is digital advertising is becoming more streamlined and automated. The report notes that digital advertising and creative teams really must work together to develop this promising ad creative and to be able to optimize campaigns across the various digital platforms. It has, however, been a difficult task facing the consumer-faced organizations previously, especially the likes of COVID. Teams were fairly disparate. They were split either by department or actually in a great part of the world, their teams are made up from different independent agencies, and bringing them together to get more of the effectiveness of streamlining and automation coming through. So achieving alignment, streamlining collaboration, and removing those manual processes really are some of the most important steps to improving collaboration and optimizing campaigns moving forward, Kevin. And these steps can be achieved with technology, obviously, but organizations must implement the necessary solutions and achieve buy-in from every layer and every component in the team for them to be effective. What we note as well is that many organizations have nevertheless implemented some of the new solutions and process to streamline this collaboration, but this has led to significant, the upside is that this has led to significant increase in collaboration and effectiveness between the teams, Kevin. In the previous study, 2002, it was noted that 55% of respondents said their advertising and creative teams were collaborating effectively. And you'll note in the report here that the 2023 predictions are highlighting that 77% of respondents are saying that their teams now collaborate more effectively, which is a great achievement. And It's something that's really important for the industry as a whole. A point that stood out for me here is that the scope of the study has expanded since 2022 from just looking at social media advertising to actually looking at digital advertising as a whole. And in light of that, only 27% of the respondents last year noted that their digital ad creation process didn't involve manual processes, and that they were often very time consuming in the delivery. This year, most of the respondents at 68% say that the processes don't involve cumbersome manual processes anymore. 74% of respondents note that they don't contend with manual processes in the digital campaign delivery process. And the balance do, however, still grapple with some time-consuming processes. An example cited here is that many of the respondents say they must still engage in manual process to generate in-depth insights to build a story around each campaign, as well as adopting manual processes in the actual measurement of campaign performance. And that is something that they really need to focus on, because there's great technology to enable measurement around performance, Kevin. 31% of respondents did, however, say that they use automated technology for digital ad campaign creation and optimization, with 55% noting that they automate at least part of the process, but they do realize that they still need to make significant improvements. But the closing point on this theme, Kevin, is that we learned that researchers asked respondents, and this is fascinating for me, they asked respondents who are interested in digital ad creation automation to describe what they'd actually have their teams do with the additional time they could free up thanks to the implementation of technology. And many of the respondents noted that the teams would have more time to verify and monitor content, taking on much more of an editorial role, and the team would also have more opportunities to actually analyze the quality of content. So that editorial role and the quality of content actually work quite well together, Kevin. And yeah, that's the sort of the wrap on theme 2.
Yeah, I mean, Craig, some of these stats are really interesting. How you can automate your campaigns and how people are actually creating these processes. And I think with TikTok as well, I've seen a lot of ChatGPT now being used as
Yes.
automated system. And you can also download the API files, and you can also connect this to Google, and there's Zapier that it connects to. There's so many automated processes that now can suddenly happen. So the speed at what the speed at what advertising and potential marketing of your business can happen right now is it's literally speeding up, because you're sort of taking out manual labor, or someone literally sitting there doing it, where you can
Yes.
actually automate a system that actually does it so systematically. And I think in a year from now, in 2 years from now, AI, to the degree of what ChatGPT is sort of showing us, is going to, I think, the degree and the type of marketing and advertising we're going to experience is probably going to evolve to such a degree that it's going to be unrecognizable, because I think there's going to be a lot more to it, because it's moving at such a rapid rate. But I'm all for it. I'm like, bring it on.
Absolutely, Kevin. Some of that streamlining of the process is as simple as just really doing your deep dive data analytics and clearly getting to understand your core audience clusters with some incremental subset layers behind that, being able to create content and customize it relative to those sort of micro subset audiences, and being able to stack that in a serving platform that you can just automate the entire process and get granular in the conversation to those subset segments, but also to the point where AI can actually start formulating a hypothesis of stories and conversation themes. And as you're starting to engage with consumers and get that dialogue going based on the essence and tone and sentiment of the two-way conversation, that next delivery of message can be shaped in real time on the ability to analyze where the conversation's going, what the sentiment is, and what the sort of the need state is coming out of that conversation. And it's just going to be phenomenal to see that. It really is. Yeah. And AI being able to create foundational sort of layers of content, of creative and all the rest, and then tweaking it in real time based on that dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And moving on to our next section.
Yeah, Kevin, theme 3 is B2C companies will use technology to overcome advertising challenges in 2022. And the report opens for this segment with the statement around moving into 2023, consumer-facing companies must take steps to reduce their inefficiencies in their advertising and creative development processes if they hope to stay competitive. And that means overcoming the challenges and pain points that they've struggled with in 2022. And I cited 4 of those pain points at the beginning of the conversation. First being macroeconomic factors. 50%, one of the biggest pain points of digital advertising facing companies in 2023 is the economy. Macroeconomic factors such as inflation, supply chain disruptions, these can all have a significant impact on the effectiveness of campaigns, Kevin. Inflation alone has led to drops in consumer spending, which obviously means less return on advertising spend for individual campaigns. But in each case, about half of the respondents actually cited an increase in competition, 49%, maximizing efficiency and ROI at 48%, producing enough content creative at 48%. And again, this is one of the areas where technology and the advancement of AI is definitely going to help. A lot more content creation for advertising going to be sitting in the background, being able to be delivered in real time with those tweaks of pure directive targeting. Measurements and attribution, 47%. And as we learned, Kevin, brands will likely turn to technology investments. There's going to need to be some good capital put aside for that to help alleviate these pain points. any effort to streamline a process, Kevin, will obviously reduce costs and delays considerably. And this will become more and more important in 2023 if the macroeconomic factors continue to work against brands. Automation, for example, could actually enable digital advertisers to launch campaigns much quicker and at a much broader scale with less overhead. And the respondents are fairly split on which challenges are actually more pressing when it comes to producing creative assets. However, there are some noteworthy trends in the results. And one of these, for instance, is that 38% of the respondents say that personalizing creative and making sure each variation adheres to platform is a challenge. The same percentage of respondents also say that finding time for creativity and idea generation is a significant challenge. And this is something which remains in the industry for as long as I've been working either on brand or advertising communication side. What is the optimum time that teams need to be able to crack that great idea, to bring more better ideas to the fore? And it's just really tough because clients are demanding quicker idea generation and getting it to market in a much quicker way. And that definitely does stifle creativity for many teams, Kevin.
Yeah.
And another key point is ad testing. This definitely is a way to help improve return on advertising spend for specific campaigns, and it just definitely helps make them much more cost effective. AI, though, 52% of respondents say that they always conduct formal testing as part of the creative process. 42% do so only sometimes at the time. AI is definitely going to be able to help you where very quickly take that campaign idea, bounce it off to a particular classified, predefined, I should say, not classified, predefined user group, get a sense of the response there, and then bring it back in and use AI to shape the campaign to achieve that broader reach of relevance, Kevin.
Yeah.
The important thing here is 60% of respondents say they plan to invest more in digital advertising tools and technologies this year compared to last year. This is the only statement presented in the question with which the majority of respondents agree. What we do note is that 44% of respondents also say they plan to invest in more creative automation, and about 49% of respondents say that they plan to spend more on programmatic advertising, while 45% say they plan to spend more on social media advertising. And again, programmatic is one of those areas that I cited earlier as a potential, sticky spot for spend, because a lot of the spend is potentially lost in the world of fake bots, Kevin.
Yeah.
The final theme here is a year for technology enablement. And what this means is that most brands are planning to invest more in digital advertising tools and tech in 2023 to streamline the entire creative and campaign optimizing process. This will help bridge the gaps between teams and hopefully help deliver much more effective creative at scale, Kevin. And the sort of the four key suggestions to enable this is use digital advertising platforms to generate and deliver creative assets more effectively. Automation will be key in delivering creative at scale, generating effective creative content to be one of the most pressing and pain points amongst digital advertisers. The second point suggested here is align your teams to bridge the gaps between them and enable much better collaboration. This is a crucial step for overcoming the barriers between the brands and creative teams. The third point that it cites is invest in technology that can provide attribution and insights about your customers. The right platforms can also provide a holistic view of your entire digital advertising operation. And the last point on theme 4 is consider prioritizing channels like YouTube and Instagram. These are two of the most popular channels amongst the respondents, and they are important as ad revenue generators, but they're also important in reaching younger generation of consumers, Kevin. And those are the sort of the wrap up of the themes themselves.
Fantastic. So we'll make sure that is a link that we can get, so we can
Yes.
put that into the description box, guys, if you want to know about those trends in advertising. Craig, so as we end the show today, what are the key takeaways for our listeners about today's conversation?
Okay, quick summary again, Kevin. Yeah, YouTube and Instagram emerge as the most popular advertising platforms for digital advertising. And digital advertising is obviously becoming more streamlined and automated. B2C companies will use technology to overcome the advertising challenges in 2023. 2023 is described as the year for technology enablement. Most brands are planning to invest more in digital tools and technologies. This will help streamline that creative development and campaign optimization process. Unfortunately, some of the manual processes or lack of collaboration between teams is still something that the respondents are grappling with, despite some great improvements from 2022. The important point here is most of the companies surveyed will spread their advertising spend over a variety of channels. I think that's sound advice. The type of broad strategy can't be conducted through disparate technology solutions, though. And by utilizing digital ad platforms, companies will be able to generate and deliver creative assets more effectively. They'll be able to align their teams more effectively. They'll be able to gain attribution from their campaigns, and obviously clearer insights about the customers will help them generate higher revenue for the bottom line and help them achieve better return on advertising spend, Kevin. And those are the key takeaway points for today.
Fantastic. Great. Yeah, some really nice in-depth information around advertising, and we definitely need to keep our finger on the pulse of that TikTok situation. I want to know
Yes.
more. Craig, the quote for today is learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. And Albert Einstein said that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So never stop questioning. And I think that's what's lovely about the show is we're constantly in the process of questioning everything.
and again, what I'm loving is the fact that you're picking these quotes, and there's this amazing relationship to the topic at hand from the last two sessions we had. And today really is about brands are understanding the need to adopt new technologies, evolve, constantly reevaluate, finding where the best return on advertising spend is, and not to stop. It's about that introspection. It's about looking at the mirror. It's about making those incremental adjustments, and it's about moving on to a new future.
Absolutely. It's because we're so aligned. That's why I find
I like that.
what you're talking about. Guys, have a fantastic day. Craig, thank you for today's conversation. We will leave all the links in the description boxes below. I will see you next week. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you, Kevin. Have a great week ahead. Ciao. Bye.
Bye.